The single biggest lie you've been told about electric cars is that they save you money in the long run. Forget the myth of cheap charging and low maintenance. We're talking about pure, unadulterated financial destruction. Some electric vehicles are shedding 60 to 70% of their value in a few short years, tanking faster than a V12 supercar on an oil slick today. We're tearing down the green facade to expose the three cold, hard truths about why the used EV market is a depreciation graveyard. Stick around, because by the end, I'm going to expose the only way you can buy an EV without setting your hard-earned cash on fire. And it's not the solution the dealers or the manufacturers want you to hear. Look, we all know cars are terrible investments. The second you drive a new one off the lot, you've taken a financial hit. It's just the nature of the beast. But for the last few years, EVs have taken a hit so hard, it's totaled the resale value. The average car loses about 46% of its value over 5 years, which is bad enough. But a typical EV, it's closer to 59%. Studies in the UK have shown that EVs lose value significantly faster than petrol and diesel cars over the first few years. Some data suggests that the average EV loses over 50% of its value in the first 3 years, which is a much steeper decline than for traditional cars. Even in Norway, which has the highest EV adoption rate in the world, research has found that electric vehicles have a substantially higher depreciation rate compared to gasoline vehicles. Here's why you're getting financially annihilated. The Silicon Valley problem. The first and most brutal reason is that you are not buying a car. You are buying a consumer electronic on wheels. Think about your smartphone. It's obsolete the second the next model is announced. That's an EV today. While internal combustion engines evolve at a glacial pace, EV technology is moving like a bat out of hell. A car from 3 years ago with a 400-volt architecture is already considered ancient because the new hotness is 800-volt architecture, which allows for ultra-rapid charging, giving a 320 kilometers of range in just 18 minutes. EV battery energy density increased from around 140 watt-hour per kilogram in 2015 to 300 watt-hour per kilogram in 2025. Range has more than doubled in a decade, from roughly 200 kilometers in 2015 to 450 kilometers in 2025, with top models exceeding 600 kilometers. So what does this mean for your 2-year-old EV? It means the second an automaker like Tesla or Porsche releases a model with an extra 50 miles of range or cuts the charge time by 20 minutes, your existing ride is viewed as functionally obsolete, which is a death sentence for its resale value. The high-tech digital advantage of the EV is, ironically, the reason it depreciates so fast. The government handout hangover. This one is a total head-scratcher until you break it down. Federal and state incentives, like the $7,500 US federal clean vehicle tax credit we've seen in the past, were terrible for long-term value. Here's the layman's logic. When you go to sell your car, a savvy buyer knows that the first owner, you, essentially got a $7,500 discount straight from the government. The real price of the car was lower than the manufacturer's suggested retail price, or MSRP, you paid. Even if you try to sell it for a fair used car price, the buyer automatically knocks off that original discount in their head because the perceived value of the vehicle was artificially inflated on day one. It's a psychological trick played on the entire market. The government's program meant it was giving a handout to the new car buyer, but the used car buyer is the one who ultimately claws that money back from you. Cheeky, right? The skeptical used buyer. Ultimately, the used car market is driven by value. Used car buyers are the most practical, value-oriented people on the planet. They see the badge on the hood and then they ask 2 questions. What's it cost? And how much functionality do I get? That's where the EV falls apart for them. They look at a gas car and see a universal tool. Fill it up anywhere in 5 minutes and it will go between 400 to 500 kilometers. They look at the EV and see less flexibility. Despite improving, they are still worried about public charging infrastructure, winter range, and that looming 5-figure fear, the eventual battery replacement. Because of this very real anxiety, used buyers demand a massive discount to compensate for the perceived inconvenience and risk. They'll drive an older, simpler, internal combustion vehicle that they see as a reliable old wrench over a complicated, high-risk EV. If you are currently driving an EV or plan to, here is the only strategy that saves you. The depreciation curve for virtually every car bottoms out after about 8 years. So the only way to beat this market is to adjust your ownership plan. Buy it and keep it forever. Most people think EVs are an investment in a sustainable, high-tech future, a smart, responsible choice. But look at the numbers. The market has spoken. And what it's actually telling you is that these aren't cars at all. They are expensive, rapidly obsolescing consumer electronics with 4 wheels and a huge battery. If you're treating your vehicle like an investment, you've already lost.